Yet there is no answer. Now, why not? This is a compliment to the Sikhs as against the Pakistani mullahs. They don't tell lies. They may misinterpret if they please. But it's impossible for Sikhs to tell lies relating to Hazrat Guru Baba Nanak. They truly respect him, and never once we have heard a voice of dissent from the Sikhs regarding the contents of Pothi Sharif or the contents of that Chola Baba Nanak. But they are indeed in an indefensible position regarding their claim that Hazrat Guru Baba Nanak had introduced a new religion. Moreover, how could a new religion be introduced which did not claim to be universal after a universal religion had come? Why Sikhism remained confined to the Punjab? And why it did not spread in the whole world, and why the entire world was not addressed by it? 400 years have passed since the coming of Hazrat Guru Baba Nanak, and they have not done anything about it. There's other proof that Hazrat Guru Baba Nanak was in fact the defender of the cause of unity of God. And he drew a large following from among the Hindus, ex-Hindus who became Sikhs, and by becoming Sikhs, he became devotees to the oneness of God. And also a large following from among the Muslims. The last row about the burial of Hazrat Guru Baba Nanak is the final nail in the coffin of the opposite argument. You know, when Hazrat Guru Baba Nanak ultimately died, his corpse was lying and his followers got divided into two sections. Those who had hailed from the Hindus, they insisted that his body should be cremated like the Hindu bodies are cremated. Those, Bhai Mardana in particular, and those who followed him from among the Muslims, they took the stance that no way we shall permit the body of Hazrat Guru Baba Nanak, who is a monotheist, to be cremated. He should be buried. Now, it was suggested when the row advanced without any conclusion that all right, let's wait for the night and next morning we'll decide. And next morning when they returned to the place, there was no corpse. You see, I am certain myself that Hazrat Guru Baba Nanak's body, because he was a true believer, was saved by God from cremation, and the Muslims took it away secretly and buried it somewhere. And the row ended. But another problem began. The other party said, if the body is absent, it must have risen to heaven. So a new history was created in the midst of mankind. Before Hazrat Guru Baba Nanak's so-called ascent, bodily ascent of his corpse, prior to that, in the entire history of mankind, people, living men, have been told of having ascended to heaven. Never before a dead man was claimed to have risen to heaven. But wherever he was risen, fire could not touch him. Because after death, that if the fire touches, this is the sign of wrath of Allah. So if you don't accept him to have been buried here, he was buried somewhere else in the heaven. But he was not cremated anyway. So these are Ahmadiyya claims about Sikhism, and we find no contradiction whatsoever in the life of Hazrat Guru Baba Nanak and the Ahmadiyya claim that he was a great saint born from among the Hindus who became a believer in the Holy Quran and Islam and fought a great battle against idolatry. Right? Thank you. Huh?
Your Holiness, address. My name is Michael Copeland. I'm a retired general practitioner The knowledge of genes in the evolutionary process, I believe to be a revelation for our generation. When this reaches the stage of forming tribes and groups, the principles of survival of the fittest is maintained by an intensity of love and cooperation within the group, and suspicion and hatred of all outside the group. This can be seen in any human grouping. I believe that mankind can control his genetic drives by the application of spiritual discipline. Were one of the world's religions to discard this terrible affliction put on it by the evolutionary process and embrace all men on this planet, would Islam be able to meet them in this endeavor?
Yes. I think squarely so. Islam, in fact, is the only religion, not because I believe in Islam, but because I can quote the Quranic teaching to prove the fact that Islam is the only religion which creates the universal atmosphere for the mankind to love each other, to trust each other, and not to hate each other. Any contrary impression which you might have received, you must have received from the behavior of certain Muslim sects, and particularly those who criticize Islam. If you try to understand Islam through the reflective glasses of the Muslim behavior of today, then you will never be able to see the true image of Islam at all. The only image of Islam is the one which can be discovered from the Quran and from the conduct of the Holy Prophet of Islam. Now here, in short, I will begin with the Quranic claim that all mankind of all ages were guided by God through sending messengers to them. And every part of the world, every continent, every region was blessed by God with messengers who delivered their messages of glad tidings as well as warnings. And as such, the Holy Quran claims that you must not only believe in the truth of the Holy Prophet of Islam, you must also believe in the truth of all the claimants to prophethood, which can be proved to be right through the criterion through which any prophet's truth is judged. Universal criterion, I mean. And you have no right to reject any prophet. If you do, you will also reject the holy founder of Islam. Now this is the first step towards universalization of man and creating a friendly atmosphere between people and people. I have been pointing out repeatedly sessions to the Christian questioners that if you behave kindly and gentlemanly towards Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet of Islam, it is your personal behavior. It is not the religious behavior you are required to have towards Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you are a true Christian, if you are a Christian according to the modern understanding of Christianity, then you must declare that any claimant to prophethood outside Christianity, after Jesus Christ, must be an impostor. This was the position taken so vehemently by the Christian clergy of Europe in particular a few hundred years ago. The language they used against the holy person of Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was far more insulting than what Salman Rushdie could think of. But they thought they were helpless. This was their belief. He had to be an impostor if their understanding of Christianity was right. The same applies to Hinduism. There is no mention anywhere in the Vedas that truth was revealed by God to the people outside India. And to believe in Krishna, it is incumbent upon you to also believe in all the prophets born elsewhere. But if a Muslim declares that Jesus Christ was a true prophet of Allah, you may differ with him in his description of Jesus as to his identity. Whether he was a prophet of God or a son of God in any manner of speaking, that's a different question. But no Muslim can dare deny the truth of Jesus Christ. It is not his personal choice. He must declare Jesus Christ to be true. He also must declare Krishna to be true. Also he must declare Buddha to be true. So without this universal declaration of truth of the founders of all religion, the atmosphere towards bringing mankind together in a genial atmosphere, in a kindly atmosphere of understanding and a sensible dialogue is not possible. So again, there are many such things. Once I delivered a short lecture in Sydney, which was entitled Some Distinctive Features of Islam. And somebody could present to you a short discourse which covers all such features which are only in Islam and in now no other religion of the world, and all lead mankind to oneness, and all emphasize the role of mankind being from the same God. All features emphasize the central, fundamental truth that if God is one, as we believe he is, then he could not have ignored any creature of any humans created by him himself in any part of the world at any age. We Ahmadis follow this principle not only in belief but to the letter in our practices. That is why we appear sometimes different from the other Muslims, because unfortunately they have been driven to believe in Islam as a political entity more than a religious entity. They talk of domination of politics of Islam over the rest of the world, which was a claim never made by the Holy Quran. Never. So that creates difficulties and misunderstandings rather than pave the path for people understanding Islam better than before. So I hope this answer will suffice to satisfy your query. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Your Holiness, my name is Andrew Bridgefield. My occupation, I'm an IT consultant, and I'm from Ruislip in Middlesex. My questions are based around equality. I mean, the Quran portrays Muslim religion to be a modern progressive religion, which does not discriminate between sex, race, or belief. Can you explain, therefore, why Muslim women are not equal to men and are submissive and subservient to them in all aspects of modern day life?
The Muslim women are only unequal to men in Islam where they are universally treated as unequal to men. And Islam being a universal religion, it could not deviate from the universal understanding of that truth, that reality, which cannot be changed. Islam treats women only in the area of their constitutional differences. Do they exist or do they not? That is the question. Are they not treated as such by the whole mankind? They have to bear children from men. And no one can change this role. And they are made to bear children with specific equipment. I mean, the human parts of the human body are made to serve this purpose. And this requires some sacrifice on their part, some encumbrances also. And this also requires special treatment of them. And they should be kindly treated for the heavy burden which they carry for the sake of the continuation of human race. As such, they should be treated with respect, and in the area of their daily activity, this factor has to be brought into consideration. And the teaching there will be different from the teaching to men in that area. Now, they are not required to go to mosque 5 times a day, even if their house is next door. Men are required. That's one area of difference. Men are required to be responsible for the economic provision of their families. Women are not held responsible for the economic provision of their families. Yet it is wrong to say that women are barred from taking actual participation in the economy of the country, or in whatever way they like to earn their livelihood. But whatever women earn, according to the Quran, is not owned by the husband. The husband have no legal share in whatever is earned by the women. But women have a legal share in whatever is earned by the husband. So the husband has to pay the price of his, his sort of freedom, comparative freedom. So if you study Islam in detail, in all the areas where teachings are found to be different in a way, the answer will always be found in the same central principle. If they are constitutionally different, the teaching relating to that constitutional difference must be different.
Your Holiness, it's a great pleasure to be in your presence today. Being a new Muslim or a new revert, the question I'd like to ask is, what is the concept of Satan in Islam, and was Satan a fallen angel?
It's a question which can be answered very simply, and also one can go deep into the philosophy of the nature of Satan, why he should be created at all anyway. And all thinkers, right from the beginning of time, have taken this up. Major religions have taken this issue and tried to resolve it by some means, because if Satan is the creation of God, then God cannot be absolved of the responsibility for the evil which he spreads. Why did he create Satan at all? Why not leave the mankind alone and follow only the dictates of Allah's will and desire and his instruction to mankind through his prophets? So this is a fundamental issue which has been dealt with differently in different religions, and there is one religion which specifically attempts to resolve this question by creating a new god of evil, which is, this religion is Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrians believe that God is goodness and nothing but goodness. It is impossible for the suffering to be witnessed here on earth, for the evil to prevail over mankind and dominate mankind in many areas of his activities. So when evil and suffering coexist with health, also with goodness, how can we believe that God is benign and just? So the answer to this question is given by them is that in fact you misunderstand, there are two gods. One God is Satan, a god in his own right, and he is the god of darkness. The other god is light, and he is represented by fire. So that is why fire is always kept burning in the temples of Zoroastrians, and it is never permitted to be put out, because he is the symbol of the living God of goodness. The fire is, I said he because they consider it to be a godly attribute. So, but anyway, the fire is it, but it is worshipped not as it, but as a symbol of a God who is the living God. The question is, can you resolve this problem, this dilemma, through these means? I have written at length on this issue in a book which will be published, I hope, by the end of this year. And I have taken it up in totality. The existence of suffering, the goodness, the pleasure, the pain, what role do they play, why do they coexist? I can't really explain everything here, but I can tell you the basic key to the understanding of this question. Before the creation of man, neither the world of angels nor the world of the animal kingdom below man was given the right of choice. They followed the dictates of God, whether it was through intuition or constitutional messages printed in their genes. But they had no choice to deviate from them. A lion must have the flesh to survive, eat the flesh to survive. And it must survive on other animals. A goat has no choice but to eat the grass. Each sect is confined to the area of its creative plan. This is what the Holy Quran says when it says, Kullu yamalu ala shakilate. فَرَبُّكُمْ عَالَمُ بِمَنْ هُوَ أَهْدَى سَبِيلًا. Everyone has his own shakila, his constitutional entity, and he must act according to that constitutional entity. Now, when you can't deviate from goodness and you can't make any choice, why should you be rewarded? There is no mention of any reward with relation to angels in any divine book. While they are the things, whatever they are, who worship God and do nothing but worship God. But you will never mention angels to be sent to heaven. Anywhere in the entire history of scriptures of God revealed to any section of mankind. This is very significant and very sensible. Because if you have no choice, you are made like something, you should not be rewarded. Nor are they ever punished, because they can't deviate from the dictates of God. Similarly, animals are neither mentioned to have been rewarded with heaven in the hereafter, nor they are mentioned to be punished in hell. There is no questionability, there is no answerability for them. The answerability, accountability begins with choice and not before. So if there is a choice, evil has to be created, but not as such. It is created as an opposite pole because of choice. Light is the positive pole. But if there is no barrier between light and anywhere else, there will be no shadow, there will be no darkness. So if you want to create choices where people can choose either to move in the direction of light or in the direction of night or shadow or darkness, then there must be some barrier between light and shadow. And this is the barrier which is created by God to create the opposite pole. Without it, there will be no choice. And the mankind will disappear. The very purpose of creation of mankind will be wiped out, will not hold. So would you rather prefer not to be or to be with this choice? The obvious answer is we would rather prefer to be. That is why man sticks to life. There are very few people who prefer mercy killing. Only exceptions. The rule is that even in suffering, man continues to adhere and cling to life, which means he loves this creation, this his own creation of independent existence, where he makes the choices for himself. So in short, this is the answer to your question, and I hope that would be considered sufficient for the time being. Later when the book is published, you can have the book from Imam Sahib or any member of the Ahmadi community, please. Thank you. Peace.
Your Holiness, my name is Michael Nowak. I'm an interpreter and journalist from Poland, from Warsaw.
From Warsaw?
Yes, from Warsaw, from Poland.
Yes.
And I would like to ask the following question. Your Holiness, how do you assess prospects of spreading Ahmadiyya movement within Eastern Europe, in particular former Czechoslovakia, Poland, Hungary, these countries, over the, let's say, the next 20 years?
That's right. We're not only interested in next 10 years, we're also interested in next 10 centuries and beyond. You see, the process of spread of light is not even all over the world. The light of sun reaches the North Pole under different rules. It reaches the South Pole under different rules. The passage is much slower than the passage on the Mediterranean, on the equator. There daily, the night and day are divided equally, and we reach light daily and reach darkness daily. But in the North Pole, you have to wait 6 months for the light to reach. So it depends on what you are talking about. In the humans, among the humans, there are also North Poles and South Poles. Unfortunately, you are talking of a North or South Pole now, because of the long domination of communism in Eastern Europe. People have been driven so far away from the belief in true God that even those who believe, they believe in myths of God rather than reality of God, because that reality is not shown in their behavior and conduct. The mafias which grow in the newly liberated countries grow equally among the Christians, Muslims, atheists, and they do not have their own specific geography. They completely dominate the erstwhile USSR character. And whenever you have been led away from morality to corruption, it becomes extremely difficult for truth to reach there and impress you. We do not believe in ideological warfare only for the sake of gaining followings. This has been our principal attitude towards preaching everywhere in the world. We could gain large number of converts from many parts of USSR, but after compromising the principles, we refused. Because what is the sense in gaining number? But as far as the gain of hearts and minds is concerned, we are making definite progress, but a slow progress, because we are talking of North Pole now. Thank you.
Yes, I am Alexander Pluimers, an accountant from Belgium.
Belgium?
Belgium, yes.
Right, yes.
What I'd like to know is why God doesn't speak to us directly and clearly. Why does it use messengers and signs and so on that we have to interpret?
I can forget you.
Why doesn't God speak to us directly? Why through messengers?
Right.
Why not directly to my
Okay,
mind?
yes, I understand. Please, God is the rarest of everything that exists, right? waves are very rare, but still they are counted among the material existences. Can you discern the presence of radio waves here or television waves here? Can you? Directly through your five senses? You have to have a means, a go-between, through which the presence of the waves is conveyed to you. In this hall, this small canopy, this marquee, if you have the right means to reach the messages in the form of waves, you can hear any music here in this hall. German, Polish, Arabic, English, Urdu, whatever be your requirement, you will hear. And you can see any picture. But you must have the proper equipment. So when we are talking of material world, there's so much difference between one form of matter and the other form of matter, and one form of matter at the extreme spectrum, let's say, of consciousness. Or no, let me see. I have to reframe it. A form of life, a form of existence, which is on the one end of the spectrum of existence, is so rare that the other end of the spectrum cannot reach it directly anyway. Man happens to be on the one end, and the phenomenon, the radiational phenomenon, happen to be on the other. And some of them are closer and some are farther away. Those which are closer, we can still feel them by our five senses, despite their being rare. When our skin is burnt by ultraviolet rays, when the heat waves scorch us, and the absence of heat also makes us uncomfortable. These are the direct means of access through our five senses to this area of rare things. But beyond them, it's impossible. They exist and you have no means of reaching them directly. God lies beyond, because there is nothing like God. And he cannot be counted as one of his creatures. This is one argument which God has presented in favor of his being the creator. He said, none is like me, and everyone else is like each other. They share some forms of attributes and properties. Anything which exists must have some commonality with other things which exist. God says, I am the only exception, because the Creator does not create himself. And this argument is further extended in the Holy Quran to remind mankind that because you have been created and you are not the creator of yourself, so there has to be another one. But that other one must lie beyond the realm of creation. And because we are thinking only in terms of our own creational experiences, so that is why it becomes very difficult for us to understand God. But God has made it easy for us by declaring that I can be reached if you are truly in search of me. And I can be in communion with those who want to be in communion with me. But for that, they have to create some similarity whereby like the tuning fork must have the same wavelength. Now, to hear God, you must acquire some qualities of God, attributes of God, which attune you to him. And when this happens, then if God so chooses, he delivers his messages to man. And the question is, why should we believe in the message of God which has been delivered to someone to be the true message? If he has not spoken to us directly, how can we believe? The answer to this very important question is given in two different ways. Number one, according to the Quran, the phenomenon of dreams which come true, the phenomenon of warnings given to man through, say, some parapsychological expression of man's psyche. According to the Quran, it is all designed by God to inform man of all a world, of the whole world and all the ages, that there does exist something which is not material, but which has the power to know the future and to know the unknown. Now here, according to the Quran, God makes no difference, no differentiation between godly people and ungodly people. Even the atheists are gifted by God sometimes with dreams which come true, and if they have eyes which can see, they must realize, why should a dream come true anyway? Because the future is unknown to man. There is no direct scientific access to the realm of future. Yet this happens universally so much that now it has become a science, well-established science. Branches of this science have been opened in the well-established universities of the world. The Cambridge has such research section where parapsychic issues are being investigated. Great American universities have now regular branches where this issue is taken up as a scientific pursuit. Scientific only in the sense to judge the existence of such thing not by direct evidence but through human experience, and to rule out any possibility of fraud. Yet the very nature of parapsychology lies beyond human reach. So my concept, my belief, which I have expressed also in during my visit to some American universities which had this section, like in North Carolina, my belief has always been that man was provided by this mechanism within him to be able to receive messages which are delivered to him without any noise, sound or wave vibration from outside. Everything seems to be created from within. But if whatever is created from within relates to an area where human psyche could not reach directly, then that experience is not a psychic experience, then it is an experience which is controlled expression of God's communion. So how could he commune with us if man was not provided with this internal apparatus? But every man has different qualities, different style of life. Sometimes his apparatus is rusted because of lack of use. Sometimes his interests lie outside in that thick form of materialism, in the thickest form of materialism. And rare things do not mean anything. So such people never have such experiences. But those who have, they are divided into two sorts. Those who have these experiences as controlled and commanded by God, and those who have just psychic expressions. How can you differentiate? According to the Quran, here comes the ultimate answer to your question. According to the Quran, if a man is true to himself and true to his people, true to his to the mankind in general, only he can be trusted by God to deliver a message from him to mankind. This is why it is highly essential for every prophet to be judged by the people of his own time, to have been a man of truth all through his life before he claimed to be from God. And there is no exception to this rule. Jesus was known to be a true man. Prophet Muhammad was known to be a true man. Prophet Moses was known to be a true man. Even before the claim that they made of being messengers of God to deliver mankind with a divine message. So that is the real criterion. If somebody else is given the message, how can we believe? How can we believe anyone anyway? Why should I believe you? Why should you believe me? Only through your experience. When you know me to be a true man, and if you can't find any ulterior motives for any expression I make, it is normal for a man to trust such a person. That this trust only begins when ulterior motives can be traced, not otherwise. But if a man is known to have been so true that even against his own personal interest he speaks truth and suffers from the consequences, then what right on earth have you got to claim it to be a false person? The choice of God always lies within this area of human experience, where people are known to be so different in the society, as if they belong to the society yet do not belong to the society. The previous behavior and conduct, every prophet is like this. Then, when they are so chaste, so true, so honest, one fine morning when they have already lived the major part of their youth and enter the borders of old age, what should happen to them? That they should suddenly start attributing lies to God. For what ulterior motives? Of course, a man can become liar at any age. You know, there is no, we cannot fix any age for people to start telling lies or to stop telling lies. So what is the answer to this question? The answer to this question is that man always lies when he is rewarded for the lies. Never lies when he is punished for the lies. Find one exception. Nowhere in human behavior in the world you will find any man telling a lie to be punished. When caught in an act of crime, he will always tell lies, of course, to save his neck. But when he knows that what I am claiming is punishable, and in such atrocious way that it becomes impossible for an ordinary man to suffer the life of misery after the claim to prophethood. There is no reason whatsoever to attribute lies to such prophets. Therein also lies the answer to why should God make his own dear ones suffer when he loves them the best. If Jesus was the most loved of God during his lifetime, why should he suffer so much? Because in his suffering lies the truth of his claim. In his suffering lies the proof of Allah's existence. I could build it further, but I think that should be sufficient because there will be some others who would like to ask questions.
My name is Brice Darouzouza from Côte d'Ivoire in West Africa.
Côte d'Ivoire.
Yeah, I'm journalist.
Call Ivory Coast.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
I'm journalist, TV reporter, and my question is this.
MashaAllah.
What do you see as the future role in importance of Ahmadiyya in the world, especially in Africa?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You see, one thing which you will notice only after a while, and you can't fail to register as a distinctive mark of Africa, is that the most baths, the conversions we received in the current year, which in the last year, which ended only on the 30th of June. No, it ended yesterday, according to our count. The total number of baths or conversions from the whole world are only a fraction of the conversions from Africa. Why? We do not have any money to influence the poor people of Africa. We never pay anything. We require them to start sacrificing their whatever they own for the sake of truth they gain. So again, there is no ulterior motive at all involved. Wherever we have conversions in Africa, number one, this should be noted, that the society begins to persecute those people who become Ahmadis from any other society. It's a universal law which is not only confined to the prophets, but for the sake of truth, all who follow truth, they have to also suffer through this test of persecution. It's a one proof that they are genuine. Number two, they begin to pay 1/16 of all their income for the cause of Islam when they become Ahmadi Muslims. In a society which is so corrupt, for a man, first of all, to commit himself to honesty and abandon all ways of life whereby he could accrue money through dishonest means. And whatever is left to him through honest income, which is not very much, of course, in general, he pays 1/16 of that income every month to the Jamaat. What better proof of their honesty and truth could you find? So it is a compliment to Africa. It's not a compulsion of Africa. It cannot be attributed to the ignorance or poverty of Africa. It's a great tribute to their wisdom and their courage and their vision. When they see truth, they know it to be truth. And when they see a spade, they can call it a spade. This is the distinction of Africa, why it is becoming so important to Ahmadiyyat. And with the grace of Allah, now the influence of Ahmadiyyat is rapidly engulfing the Francophone countries, while previously it remained confined only to the English-speaking areas. Not too strictly confined, but most often the ratio of conversions from the English-speaking people countries was overwhelmingly larger than the conversions from other parts of Africa. Now, with the grace of Allah, they're running side by side, almost equally, hand in hand. Now, you know why we are interested in Africa? Thank you.
My name is Katarzyna Chojnowska. I am from Poland.
From Poland?
Yeah.
There are quite a few people from Poland this year, alhamdulillah.
And my question is, how best should a Polish woman converted to Islam observe Purdah when no one else in the country practices this and you would stand out?
You see, this is something which cannot be answered in yes or no type of crisp answers. Because Purdah has a philosophy. It's not just the veil which some women wear on their faces. It is a philosophy of segregation to the extent that the chastity of women is protected against wayward, wandering eyes of wanton people. So it is an honor to women that Islam wants to protect their chastity. And because they are constitutionally weak, special measures are to be taken to guarantee their safety from oppressive men. And this is exactly what is witnessed by people everywhere in the world. You hear of atrocities, molestation of women, and don't want even to name these things, by men everywhere in the world. No streets of Europe are now safe for a girl to walk alone. But men can walk alone. You will never see men attacked by women to molest their chastities. Who should be protected from whom? Obviously, women should be protected from men. So Islamic system of Purdah is a philosophy of segregation. It does not keep women confined to the area of home alone. It's a full-fledged philosophy, very convincing philosophy, which permits women to participate in every healthy pursuit of life, but with certain precautions. This is the meaning of Purdah. So without understanding this philosophy, without knowing how to present it to the non-believing world, how can you justify your Purdah? And now this is a Purdah, of course, although you're not covering your face. But the way you are attired, you discourage wayward looks, obviously. You can walk the streets of London anywhere. It will be a very, very sick man who would think of violating your chastity. Otherwise, he'll keep his distance. He'll know she's not for me. Now, this message of not for me must be delivered. And whatever falls within the category of this expression is called Purdah or veil or segregation. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, Sir.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
My name is Guljar Muhammad. I'm from Walsall.
Yes.
My question is, as a human, we all came into this world the same way and we go the same. Yet we fight against each other.
Yes.
And we see religion being blamed for all the violence against each other.
Being blamed.
Being blamed,
Right,
yes.
right.
How can or how will the Ahmadiyya community change this situation?
By changing their behavior, of course.
Is that the
By
answer?
presenting a healthy model. That is exactly what we're trying to do.
Well, Ahmadiyya
Otherwise,
is a
everybody claims that he presents the right model way of life. How can world take such claims seriously? Unless the claims are followed by conduct which supports the claim in every detail. That is why the Holy Quran has laid this condition for Dawat ila Allah, that is to call towards Allah. It's a fantastic verse, so profound in wisdom. It says to call towards Allah is the best call that you can make, the most beautiful thing, provided that your action supports this call and your behavior is in conformity with what you believe. So if you call towards Allah and rob people, dishonor people, and commit all sorts of atrocities against humankind, what right do you have to call towards Allah? So this is exactly what we understand. This is what is our universal struggle for. That is why during my previous lectures in this Jalsa, I have been repeatedly emphasizing the role of godly conduct before we are able to invite people to God. It is your conduct which will prove to people that you are really from God. Otherwise, it's just a mental exercise, academic exercise, nothing more. Thank you.
Your Holiness, the Ayatollah Khomeini of Iran had condemned Salman Rushdie on behalf of the Muslim world. Do Your Holiness, as head of the Ahmadiyya community and all in general, believe in him?
Believe in whom?
Ayatollah Khomeini, that he has condemned
No,
Salman.
if I believe in him, how can I believe in myself? I hold the authority of being Khalifatul Masih. As such, all those who believe in me can only believe in me if I believe in myself. Otherwise, I have no right to call themselves to believe in the authority of Khilafat of Masih Maud. That is the fundamental principle which has been mentioned in the Holy Quran with relation to the Holy Prophet of Islam. It begins the mention of fundamental beliefs by declaring, Amana Rasulu bima unzila ilayhi min rabbih. Muhammad Rasulullah has believed in whatever has been revealed to him. Then follows the list of those who believe and in what they believe. So if you have no belief in the truth of yourself, it is impossible for you, unless you are a hypocrite of the highest order, or the lowest order I should say, to call others to that belief. So we do not see eye to eye with Ayatollah Khomeini in many a misunderstanding of Islam which he entertains. And this area of condemnation lies within that category. We condemn not only Salman Rushdie, all such people who dishonor other humans. It is a fundamental question of accepting abuse or rejecting abuse. Abuse against, again, any living person, even in United Kingdom, sometimes become a case for libel. But that man may have a position of honor held within a very few people. Sometimes he's not known outside his family circles. Yet a case of libel is entertained by courts. And also, if someone is widely respected in the society, the case of libel will be taken far more seriously than the case of libel in relation to any ordinary person. But if someone is respected over the whole world, held in the highest esteem, why shouldn't you condemn abuses against him? You don't have the honesty and decency to condemn abuses against him, particularly when he is dead. He can't defend himself. It's the ugliest abuses hurled against the Holy Prophet of Islam which I ever come across in this age. So it should be condemned. But the question is, should such a person be condemned to death or condemned in principle? There we do not see eye to eye with Khomeini because the Holy Quran is very clear on this. For the charges of insulting the Holy Prophets or anything holy, Quran has never prescribed anywhere any punishment which can be meted out from man to man, by man to man. The Holy Prophet was insulted. Repeatedly, the Holy Quran keeps the full record of such occasions. If not full, at least incidental record of such, specimen record of such cases. Nowhere does it mention any punishment against blasphemy. Blasphemy is an area which is punishable only by God. So we condemn Salman Rushdie at the loudest of our voices, but we do not condemn him to death because we are not permitted by God to do so. Thank you. I'm told that the time for this session is over, but I came late by a few minutes, didn't I? Huh?
Yes,
So it will be in witness of things for me to sit a little longer. By how much I was late?
15 minutes.
Huh? 15 minutes? Okay. I'll remain with you for 15 minutes more. No, not more. By 1:15. Okay. Yes, please. No questions? Oh, yes, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Hala Tufaha from in Syria.
All right.
I
Not
speaking
directly
in
from Syria,
Arabic.
but from Poland first.
Yes.
Originally from
Studying.
Syria, but now from Poland. Right,
Yes.
right.
كيف يمكننا أن نتعرف أو نفهم موضوع العرفان الإلهي؟ العرفان الإلهي.
It is possible, but it's not possible to understand it within a few minutes. There is a lecture under the title Irfan Ilahi, delivered by the second head of the Ahmadiyya community. It is one of the best which could be conceived on the issue of Irfan Ilahi. So I understand this has been translated into English. And Arabic as well or no? Irfan Ilahi he has asked Amir Sahib, he suggested in fact that I should tell the other guests what you mean by Irfan Ilahi. There are two expressions used by the Holy Quran regarding our understanding of God. One is called idrak. Idrak means you understand something to the very depth and know what it is. The Holy Quran says it is impossible for man to have any idrak of God. La tudrikul absaru wa huwa yudrikul absar. Eyes cannot reach him, he reaches the eyes. So only to that degree one can understand the nature of God, to which degree he himself reveals himself. And this is likened unto the light from the heavenly bodies like sun and star, moons. I cannot reach them, but they can reach the eye, then both together give us an idea of what light is. So that is exactly the claim of God regarding idrak. But about irfan, it's an unlimited journey which anyone can make into the, let's say, the unlimited ocean, the unfathomable ocean of wisdom concerning God. So irfan does not apply to the area of knowledge. Irfan applies to the area of wisdom of understanding. So when we see something and we delve deeper in to find out the reasons why it is, how should it be used, for what purpose and so on, this is the area of wisdom. So in the wisdom of dictates of the Holy Quran or any other book, one can always delve deeper and deeper, and it is an unlimited journey into the understanding of the nature of God's attributes through the nature He has created, not by imaginary means. So if you have the quality of applying your mind to whatever He has created in depth, and if you have the quality to delve deeper into the meaning of things, like the scientists have, if you have the same attitude towards religion and religious truths, then whatever you gain is irfan. So as I have explained, only briefly, this is a very wide subject and very profound subject which cannot be dealt with in a few minutes. But in principle I have explained this. Thank you. Next please. Yes? I think the list of questions is over, and now because the time I have extended, so I entertain your question, please. Yes.
What is the password to heaven?
What
is the password for heaven?
For?
Password for heaven.
There is no password. Sorry. Anything else? Yes, please. Sadar Sahib, please, welcome.
Birthday, Holy Mirza Sahib, I will bow my head and I will say Adawats. As a Sikh, I'm in this country, living in this country since last 30 years. I'm from Pakistan, and my name is Tek Singh Bhopal.
From Rawalpindi area?
No, Bahawalpur State.
Bahawalpur State, right.
And I have a great faith in Ahmadiyya mission since very, very long. As I accepted from my soul that Ahmadiyya mission is the true mission of Muslim who obey the Quran and Sunnah.
Thank you so much. The words fail me to express my gratitude for this very bold and honorable expression.
But in...
Yeah, no, I knew. A but is coming, but I also praise that
I will ask the permission of Holy Mirza Sahib to say me, to open my mind.
Please do. This is why
no,
we are
I'm
here.
not trying to please me. I will be only pleased to listen to you. That's what I'm here.
Exactly.
In this sort of health. You know I am sick man.
I understand, yes.
And with the grace of God, with your appreciation, I'm 50-50 all right.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
In my 75 years of age as a Sikh, in Guru Nanak preaching, through the Guru Granth, through their saying, through the education of Guru Nanak, I have never find a single word anywhere that he accepted Islam. On the other hand, in his own wording, which I will ask the permission to say in Punjabi.
You're most welcome.
When Hazur Guru Nanak Dev Ji went to Makkah for Hajj, it was asked, it was questioned from him, who are you? Either you are a Muslim or you are a Hindu, because he was from India. India was a Hindu state, Hindu country. So the real word was committed in Guru Granth, कि हिंदू कहाँ ते मारिया मुसलमान भी ना है, हिंदू कहाँ ते मारिया मुसलमान भी ना है, पंच तत्व का पुतला नानक मेरा ना है.
Right.
One thing. Secondly,
no,
it's not only that he...
Let it suffice, because the time is over. I will not be left with any time for answering the question.
No, that's all right, sir.
One is sufficient.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I will ask Hazur,
thank you very much for being...
to give me a time later, sometime.
Of course I'll give you time, but you better come in a public question-answer session.
Right, sir.
Because everybody should hear both sides. When I said what I said about Hazrat Guru Baba Nanak, I was constantly looking in your direction, hoping that you'll stand up, because I know you very well. You're a true man. You'll stand up to defend your understanding of Hazrat Guru Baba Nanak. And I know this answer because I've heard it repeatedly during my encounter with Sikhs who do not agree with us. I know it very well. But the question I am pointing out is that does every Muslim go on repeating, telling everybody that I'm a Muslim? He never does so. His behavior is the witness of what he believes in. So if Hazrat Guru Baba Nanak said prayers in the direction of Kaaba, if he performed Hajj, if he declared La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, and also had it printed on his chola, what would you call that behavior? If he had rejected this, what he was wearing, then it will be dishonest of a man of his quality to wear what gave light to his beliefs. So that is why, despite what you said, I still stick to my view that Hazrat Guru Baba Nanak was a true Muslim. Again, when he condemned Muslims, never did he condemn Islam. Never. Never did he condemn Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah, not once. But he condemned idols of Hindus. He condemned the Vedic teaching so clearly. Repeatedly, I have read that. So that shows that he did not belong to any known sect of Islam of that time. All had gone wrong to him, according to him. He believed in the truth of Islam, not in the truth of the sects of Muslims. So that is why he hesitated to identify himself to belong to any known sect of Islam or Muslims, not Islam. And that is exactly what he says. He said, I am Nanak, who has submitted to the will of God. Right? Thank you. Thank you. Now I take leave of you. Allah bless you all for this very, very wonderful gathering you have, which we have enjoyed, I hope both of us. I have. Thank you.